Hi, it's Samantha. Today I want to talk about emotions, which generally, we think about positive and negative, positive thinking, positive affirmations, positive intentions, and sometimes, though they have value, and there is a place and there's a great importance to all that. But what's really important as well is that we acknowledge the denser emotions, the emotions that we would call a lower vibration on the scale. And the reason why I want to talk about these emotions is because oftentimes, we talk about the light, which we all are the light. However, there is shadows, there is darkness. Like I'm doing this video in the nighttime and trying to get a proper lighting for the video. You see around me there is shadows. There's no denying that. And there is darkness. And there's no denying that either. So the dialogue that I want to have this evening is about giving space for these emotions to move through. Allowing it, having no shame about that. If you're feeling crappy, say it, feel it. It's not about being a pessimist or being a negative Nelly or whatever they call it. No, it's about being honest. Because if something doesn't feel good, say it doesn't feel good. That's being honest. That's being integral to you, and that's standing in a space where you're not betraying your very emotions. There is nothing wrong with negative emotions. Just because it's negative or it's on a lower vibration scale, it doesn't mean that it's bad. It's there for a reason. And so if you're feeling something like anger, express it. Talk about it. If you're feeling irritation, talk about it. See what's going on with that irritation. And and there's always different ways and outlets for us to express that or to move that energy. And motion is really, really good for moving that energy. And sometimes that could be physical activity, walking, running, sports, whatever. But also crying. Crying is such an amazing release. I'm a ball ass. I cry when I'm happy, I cry when I'm sad, I cry when I'm joyful, I cry when I'm mad. I'm a crier. But that's not always easy for people to do. Now, I'll cry when I'm happy and joyful around others. But when I'm sad and mad, I'm more hidden. It's still very hard for me to openly cry when I'm expressing my emotions. And I know that's something that's a lot of people struggle with, but there is such a powerful release in that, and there's such a vulnerability, and we're so afraid to express upon these emotions that are here for us. They're really here for us to be expressed, to be moved through us. So whether that be sadness or anger or grief, all of it matters. And in giving ourselves space to freely express that, to have a good bawl, to have a good rant. There is nothing wrong with having a good rant or expressing the anger, vocalizing it, saying, I'm mad for this reason, this is what bothers me, and really let it move. Because there's no use in pretending or denying that it's not there, because it is there. And it will not go nowhere until we acknowledge it and give it space to move through us. That's raising our vibration. That's healing. That's releasing. To our surrender, to our allowing of these emotions to move through us. So it's, when people are happy and, full of joy, we celebrate that. But it's time also that we celebrate anger, sadness, so we can hold space for those tender emotions, because they are beautiful emotions as well. I'm not talking about violence. I'm not talking about, somebody who's in such a space of grief so intense that they can't stay grounded, that they feel that they're really losing it. That requires a different intervention. And that's okay too. That's really okay. If that's what it needs, that's where the person should go to get the services needed to meet those needs. Hands down. There's no shame in that. There's no guilt in that. We all need different things in different ways. But when I want to talk about emotions, it's like, why are we afraid of anger? What is it that scares us? Are we going to be seen as a negative person, as a bad person? We all have all these ranges of emotions, and we all experience them. It just depends if we're going to express them or not. So today, I invite you to ask yourself, how is it that you express your anger, express your sadness, or do you even? Do you give them space to be? Because it's not easy. I was more of a passive-aggressive nature, which I still am. So anger was something that was very, very hard for me to express or even acknowledge, because I didn't even realize that I was angry. And I'm still finding a balance as that comes up, because I still want to be able to express it, but I don't want to aim it at somebody. And I don't want, when I'm hurt, to hurt another, because it's not going to solve anything. But there's a way that we can express our emotions if we learn to move through it ourselves by doing it with compassion, with honesty. But it's important to have a safe space to be able to do that, to release those emotions, because it's not safe with everybody. And if you know somebody who's going to mock you or laugh at you for expressing this, that's not a safe space. Don't, not with these people. Because that will just add to the shame, and add to the blame, and add to the guilt, and add to your anger or your sadness or whatever emotion it is that you're feeling. So I talk about emotions because, we often talk about, like I was telling you in the beginning, the light, being, but it's time to give space for the darkness. It's time to give space to our shadows, because they all matter. Everyone matters. And when we give space to let ourselves be human and be vulnerable and to express that, well, the more comfortable we will be in expressing all of these emotions. It's not about saying good or bad, because it's not. It's like I told a friend one time, it's like when we're happy, okay? We love to celebrate and sit with, our friends when they're happy and celebrate with them, and, but when we're sad, what's the first thing that we want to do for somebody that we love when we see that they're sad? Or when we're sad, we wish we could take that sadness away, right? We want it to stop. We wish we could take that pain away. But I ask you, would you take their joy away? Would you take their happiness away? No. Not if you have good intent. Not if you're genuinely loving somebody. No. So don't go dismissing the sadness or the anger. It's space that we need to sit with each other and to be able to freely express these emotions. So, to continue, to finish up, what I would say is, I want you to sit with me in my sadness, like you do as you celebrate me in my joy. It's not easy, but you're not asking the person to fix anything or to give advice. You just want space. And that is sacred. When we're able to hold space for somebody and to allow them to freely express whatever it is that they need to express without judgment, it is there that we see healing that begins, because that's a potent space. Because we're allowing, we are free to feel, we are free to express. And even when it feels yucky, there's healing. Because the healing processes, the processing of emotions itself is very tender, very raw, and very vulnerable. And oftentimes we get stuck in certain spots because it hurts too much. But like all emotions, we move through it. And the more we get used to that, the more comfortable we get with it. So that was the topic of emotions, and I would love to hear your feedback and what it is that you guys are struggling with when it comes to emotions, and what are your ways in expressing it? What have been the ways that has been most helpful and that felt good to you in expressing your emotions? So with that, I send you all my love. Until next time, bye.